I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. Hey, long time no see. It's only like my 15th live stream in the last 12 hours, so we're cruising around. No, with the conference tournaments are crazy. So I was live at midnight. I was live at 11 a.m. Here we are again back at 4 p.m. But no college. Oh, we are doing a college basketball after this. We're bringing on Scoop. We're talking NBA first, and I do have some bets. I don't love them, but I have them. The market didn't exactly move the way I anticipated, so we'll have to wait and see. But we're going to start off with the best game on the board, man, in terms of just if you're an NBA fan trying to watch some high-quality ball, Oklahoma City, Boston takes the cake. I got Oklahoma City last night at 4.5, so I'm on the Thunder here. Now that Caruso's questionable as well, and it's down to 2.5, look, I had this one at about a pick, maybe Boston minus a half point with Caruso in there. So at 4.5, it was like, okay, I'm down to bet this. Now it's down to 2.5, and Caruso might not play. So I don't know if it's really much of a bet at this point. You could put Oklahoma City up for me because, like I said, I have this one at close to a pick. So my pick would still be Oklahoma City. But if you're asking me, Kyle, if you didn't have a bet, would you place it right now? I think the answer is no. So it's Oklahoma City or pass at the current price. Oh, it looks like someone just moved it up to 3.5. Does that mean Caruso's out? Any news on that?
No, he's still questionable.
Nothing on that? All right. So, yeah, Oklahoma City or pass here. I do have a bet on Oklahoma City, but I got it at 4.5 last night.
I have two in this one. They're both first quarter bets, two of the biggest first quarter kings in the NBA. One of them's Kristaps, and I've talked about him all year. I don't care that it's his first game back after a couple weeks off with an illness, which, like, if you're taking that much time off with an illness, I think it probably was legit. His over/under is 4.5. And so they're baking that into the cost. The fact that he probably won't, like, he might play sometimes when he's healthy, he might play like 10 minutes. That's not going to happen today. And I'm okay with that. Like, if he plays 8, I'm still good with it. He's gone over this number in 9 of his last 11 games in which he's played 8 or fewer minutes in the first quarter. So, like, even when he doesn't get up to 9, I'm fine with it. Last time these two teams played, he didn't cash in the first quarter, but he did have a good game overall. And generally, he's obviously a fast starting kind of guy. So I like the KP one. SGA one sounds like a crazy number when you think of like 10.5 first quarter points. He's hit this in 19 of his last 30 games. The Celtics allow the 5th most points per game to pick and roll ball handlers, the 2nd most points per game via isolation. Shea in both those categories is like top 2 in the NBA, depending what time frame you look at, either the most or the 2nd most. And if you look at games or matchups against teams in the bottom half, guarding pick and roll ball handlers, Shea scored 11 or more points in 13 of his last 16 games in the first quarter. So it's a high number. I'm not scared off of it. I also like the fact that he just missed it in his last game after putting up 12 on the Nuggets. The next game, he did not hit this number. So it's a minor positive regression, fate of recent results type thing. But in these big matchups, like I was debating going 35 plus for Shea, but I just decided to stick with the first quarter.
He called them first quarter kings.
That's what they're called.
First quarter kings, bro.
Well,
only in Modi's world,
the kings of.
Only in Modi's world does the term first quarter king ever apply. If you said that in a normal world, people are like, what'd you just say? But Modi, that's common. That's common.
There's a lot of sports betting vernacular that if you said in the common world, people be like, what are you talking about?
I'm not calling that a sports betting vernacular. That's you, bro. First quarter king.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying Gaddy's one of the normal ones, but I'm just saying, like, you could clip a lot of sports betting conversations.
All right, Chris, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, this is the game that I want to watch, and I absolutely don't want to bet, especially with all the injury report. Jalen Williams out. We still don't know if Porzingis is going to play just because he went through shoot around. Like, we're not sure. Tatum also listed as questionable. Like, easy pass for me. I'll watch it, maybe live bet it, but yeah, I don't have any thoughts. I guess if I was betting anything, it'd be Boston first half, thinking that, you know, the way that they lost the game in OKC. You remember that game earlier this season, Kyle, on that Sunday? I mean, they came out, dominated the first half, and scored 22 points in the second half altogether. I think they had a 13-point quarter and an 8-point quarter.
Pretty sure they did almost the same exact thing against Cleveland as well.
Yeah. So I lean Boston early. Kyle. Maybe first half, but yeah, it's not a game I'm betting. Not gonna waste people's time.
All right, let's move on to the next one, which is Philadelphia, Toronto. Kind of hard for me to get over, and I talked about this if you saw the video I uploaded last night. It's hard for me to get over how good the Raptors have been against bad teams. Right? Surprisingly dominant against these bad teams. I think it was 15-4 against the spread against bottom 10 defenses or something like that. You know what? I could probably pull up the exact numbers, but I mean, who cares? The point is, Toronto has been very profitable to bet against these bad teams. I just took them minus 6.5 the other night. Who was that against, Prop Beaver?
Wizards?
Was it the Wizards? Yeah. They came through for me, had a really nice look at second half. For the same reason, Toronto against bad teams. So, of course, I want to lean towards the Wizards. We're talking about this. Of course, I want to lean towards the Raptors. We're talking about the Sixers with no Maxey, no Paul George, no Embiid. You also got Kelly Oubre, Yabusele, Drummond listed as questionable. The injury report on Toronto is a mile long, but imagine those three don't play. Who is even going to be playing in this game for Philadelphia? Now, I would imagine they're going to throw Oubre. I mean, I imagine at least two of those guys play, so they could at least field the roster. But Philadelphia on the road against a team that seems to handle their shit. I know there's no Quickly, there's no Barrett, there's no Grady Dick. I get it. If Scotty Barnes plays, I would play the Raptors anything 5.5 or below. So if Scotty Barnes is ruled in, this line probably moves. I probably would still grab the Raps at a minus 5.5. But it also depends on who's ruled in for Philly. It's kind of tough to talk about this game. There's so many injuries.
I also think that the Raptors have beaten the Sixers twice this year, and one of them was like the third game of the year before we knew how bad they were going to be.
Yep.
I have a play in this one. This is someone that so I have a first quarter king. I also like to call players like this nasty boys. Jamal Shed, 8+ assists, plus 126 odds at FanDuel. Actually, let me get the
what?
Before
yeah,
you
hold on, hold on.
Yeah, rewind.
What do you call them?
That
Well,
is
you know,
suspect.
we're gonna need
That
Matt,
is suspect.
You call them nasty boys. You need to define for us normal people, what is a nasty boy to you?
What?
A nasty boy is someone that 90% of people that watch NBA basketball don't know who he is. Someone that has either really low props, like you're betting on like someone PRA below 10, PRA below 15, or someone like Jamal Shed who, like, how many people do you think?
How about like sleepers? Why'd you go nasty boys, bro?
Why call him sleeper when you can call someone a nasty boy? I don't understand.
I won't question it. Go ahead. Give us your nasty boy pick.
It's just common sports betting vernacular, Kyle. Get with it. So Jamal Shed might sound like a crazy line. I think he's hit this 4 times this year, but you got to consider the situation. You mentioned all the guys that are out for the Raptors. RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly are the biggest ones. He's only played 6 games without those 2 guys in the lineup. In those 6 games, he averaged over 25 minutes and 12.5 potential assists. One of those games, it was the Raptors' second game of the year. He played 25 minutes. He only had 5 potential assists in that game. You take that game out, the remaining 5, 14 potential assists. Now, the conversion rate is terrible on all those except for one. Only once did he actually hit the 8 assist number. Enter the Philadelphia 76ers defense. They've given up. They play this aggressive, frenetic style of defense that just leave people wide open. Since the All-Star break, 10 of 15 guards have hit their assist prop over against the Sixers. And that includes like the Celtics. All 3 guards went over. It was Peyton Pritchard, it was Derek White, and then it was some guy who I never even heard of. I didn't even know that guy is a nasty boy. Hit their assist prop over against the Sixers. It was Jay Walsh. I don't know who that is. I legitimately don't know who that is. Mm-hmm. Regardless, he went over his assist prop. The Sixers in the last 10 games have allowed the 5th most assists overall. And as I mentioned, they've been getting annihilated specifically by guards. So Jamal Shed, 8+ assists. Right now it's plus 105 at BetMGM is the best offer price.
The comments were funny. Someone said calling him a nasty boy with that shirt on is wild.
What is? I don't know what the shirt has to do with it. But
dude, he just said it like casually. He's like, "Oh, this is one of my nasty boys," and just like went into it. Like, we're like, "Well, hold up." To find that,
the word nasty boy comes up probably 7 times in my Discord, which more than that, honestly. So just to let you guys.
And you're talking about basketball.
Is this a sports betting Discord or?
It is a sports betting Discord. Yeah. It's a nasty. We're also football nasty boys. It's not just basketball.
Oh, there's nasty boys year round. 365
Correct.
nasty boys. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Chris, what are your thoughts?
I just got a question. Is Ben Sensible a nasty boy?
I think he's considered a nasty boy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. My thoughts on the game, Kyle, is I want to skip it. I want nothing to do with it. But I do agree with everything you said. Philly, really don't want to win games, so you just need Toronto to win by 2 possessions. I think they're capable of doing so. They got Jakob Poeltl in. They should dominate the boards. Philly can't rebound the basketball. They can't stop a nosebleed in the paint. So lean towards Jakob Poeltl up and over his 8 boards. The problem is Bogdanovic, or whatever his name is, that coaches Toronto, is doing that minutes thing where starters not playing that many minutes. So 8.5 is his boards, Kyle. I do think that he goes up and over that number. He's up and over it, averaging about 10, right under 10 boards when he gets 24 minutes against the bottom half of the league in rebounds allowed. So I'll lean Jakob Poeltl. Also lean with you on Toronto. Didn't play the game though.
Cool. Let's move on to the next one, and I have a bet in the next one. Is the next one Charlotte, Atlanta?
Yeah.
So I'm on the Hornets, and I like the Hornets. I like the pick. The dilemma I had last night was whether to wait, because if Trae Young is ruled in, I'm on plus 8.5. If Trae Young is ruled in, the plus 8.5 is not going to be a good ticket to hold.
He's ruled in already, though, right, Kyle?
No, he's still questionable.
Is he questionable? I thought I saw him ruled in.
Unless RotoWire has an update.
He's probable. He's probable now, Kyle.
Okay, so he's upgraded probable.
He's upgraded probable, which is why I think
honestly,
the line moved.
Probable doesn't mean shit. I don't know, Chris, because it's actually moved from 9 back down to 8.5. It's mostly 8.5 now.
That's because Trae doesn't mean anything. But when he got ruled in, what I'm saying, I'm not saying Trae doesn't mean anything. I said that wrong. This is what I'm trying to say, Kyle. I'm saying that Trae is always listed as questionable or probable. And most of the time, if we go through and look at how many times he's listed at, I can guarantee you he's played in 90% of those games. So I think when people see Trae on the injury report, they consider, even though he missed the last game, I think they consider him playing, is what I'm trying to say. So when Trae got ruled in, this number went from 8.5 to 9, and now it's come back down to 8.5 because people know that they shouldn't be laying this many points with Atlanta. Is what my thought process was.
Okay, so here are my thoughts on this game. Here's why I like Charlotte. So number one, this Charlotte defense is not good. That's not a hot take. They've done a good job at one thing on the defensive side of the ball. They don't let you get into the paint. Right? I mean, you can knock jump shots down on them, but they're actually, I believe, first in the NBA in shot frequency allowed in the paint. So they're pretty good at keeping their opponents away from the paint. And the reason that is significant is because that's all this Hawks offense does. They're first in frequency in the paint in the last 10 games. This is not last year's Atlanta team that shot a bunch of threes. This is a Hawks team that attacks the paint. And check this out, Charlotte. We know they haven't been very profitable this year, but against teams that attack the paint, 12-6 against the spread in the top 10 in frequency, 5-2 against the spread in the top 5. Atlanta's first. So Charlotte's been very profitable against offenses that rely on getting into the interior and scoring. So even though I don't think this Hornets defense is any good, and also, obviously they're on the road in Atlanta, so we're not going to see a defensive masterclass here. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if the Hornets do play some decent defense tonight. Again, the Hawks are going to score points, but I do think the Hornets can come up with some stops here. And on the other side, I mean, we're talking about the Hawks defense. What more sales pitch do you need than that? They're terrible. So, I mean, it's the Hawks laying a big number. I like the matchup. Like I said, my dilemma was whether to take the 8.5 last night or whether to wait. As of right now, it looks like it wouldn't really have mattered. I probably could have got a 9 if I waited, but I took an 8.5 last night. You could still get 8.5. So I'm on Hornets plus 8.5. I wouldn't say I don't like it. I do like it. It's just really wish I knew who was playing. Matt?
Yeah, I don't have an official bet in this game. There's like a couple player props that I think have decent matchups. The biggest one is probably Mark Williams. The Hawks are the 5th worst defense, specifically in the restricted area, and they allow the 6th most points in the paint. Obviously, that's where basically all of Mark Williams' points come from. 7 of 11 centers, similar to Mark Williams, have hit their point prop over. Like Jalen Duren hit it twice, 2 games in a row. Jared Allen went under, but then like Gobert went over, Duren again, Walker Kessler, Jared Allen, Nick Richards, like all these guys who have the same profile as Mark Williams have gone over. It's a high number. 16.5. He just scored 24 against the Heat, so it's high for good reason. They also give up the Hawks do the 5th most points per game to pick and roll rollmen, which is where the majority of his points come from outside of cuts. So I didn't bet it. It would be the play if I had to bet this game, but I don't, so I didn't. But yeah, the best price on that's -104 at FanDuel.
Mr. Weskers has been asking intently, what is the whale nuke here? Kyle, the entire time I was talking to him today, really, really liked this Hornets pick. So I thought he was going to speak with a bit more confidence on it, but I don't know. Doesn't seem like he likes
I don't know
much
why
there.
he put whale nuke there. That's
Wow.
prop Beaver. So
Wow.
he's the one that should give you a whale
Now
nuke.
he's backing off. See? I mean, this
I bet this.
Honestly, it's really shameful.
I wouldn't use the term like whale nuke.
What do I mean, whale nuke? I mean, you were saying a bunch of things in the office today. You said, I put half my bankroll on this. You were saying, take out the mortgage. You were saying a bunch of crazy shit to me, so.
Fiction. Chris.
Oh, man, I agree with everything you said, Kyle. Just to add a little bit more to it, Charlotte, for whatever reason, plays Atlanta really, really well. You know, I look into these like matchups just going back historically. They've covered both games so far this season, 8-2 against the spread last 10. Charlotte is also – so this is where I started the handicap. Do I want Charlotte on the road catching points, or do I want Atlanta at home laying points? That's easy, right? 15-11-1 against the spread is Charlotte. That's 58%. Atlanta 5-11 against the spread at home. Burning money, 31%. And then I started looking into, like you said, all of the metrics. Atlanta has been winning games because they've been dominating points in the paint. Charlotte does not give it up. The other thing you didn't mention, Kyle, is that Atlanta's defense, when they're home favorite, they will make your offense look great. 14 of the 16 opponents that they faced have gone up and over their team total when they're home favorite this season. We just saw a Philadelphia 76ers team that was absolutely depleted trying to tank, still cover. So you ask yourself, whose defense is better? Whose offense is better? I would actually argue that Charlotte's offense against that Philadelphia offense is actually better. And the defense, of course, is a lot better because they can rebound the basketball. The last thing I'll mention, Charlotte, when they come off a win as a dog, typically we could think about bad teams, potentially being a letdown spot. They're actually 8-4-1 against the spread when they're coming off a win as a dog. So they back up success with success. I think they cover is way too many points to be landing with Atlanta.
Kyle hates America. Next up, dude.
It's true.
I said I wasn't patriotic once, meaning I didn't want to watch the USA Canada hockey game. I didn't mean I hate the country.
That's what it sounds like, Kyle.
Yeah,
I mean that's what it means.
I guess saying like I'm not patriotic wasn't the best way to phrase it. I meant like I don't care about like the U.S. Olympic teams. Like I love living here. It's just I don't care. Like I'm not like go U.S. Like I don't care like that. That's what I meant. Dallas, San Antonio. Give me them Mavs. Obviously, if both Exum and PJ Washington are ruled out, kind of sucks. We'll wait and see. I got it at +6. I think if you shop, you could probably find a pricey 6.5. But I like the matchup for the Mavs. Dallas has been excellent defending the fast break all year. They're actually one of the best defenses against the fast break on a full season basis. I think they're second in defensive efficiency. And if you're thinking, oh, well, Kyle, most of that probably came from earlier in the season before they got injured. It's actually the opposite. They've been playing excellent defense against the fast break down the stretch. In fact, they're playing their best defense against the fast break right now. So maybe pieces like Max Christie, maybe even pieces like Dinwiddie. Who knows exactly what the cause is. But Dallas is playing great defense against the fast break right now. Why am I bringing that up? That's what the Spurs do. This is a team that wants to run. Also, this is a Spurs team that isn't very good at all, or at least so what they've shown us. The defense is absolutely terrible without Wembanyama. The rebounding is absolutely terrible without Wembanyama. Should not be laying 6 points. If I get Exum and PJ Washington in, they're both listed as questionable, then I like this bet a lot. I have it at 3.5. I have it at Spurs -3.5, so I like the bet. I like the stock.
I didn't have anything in this game, so you can skip me.
Chris?
Yeah, you know what? When we came on the show the other day, Kyle, I said over, right? I think it was like 232, and it had been bet up from like 228, I think. It's hard for me not to just go right back to the over. I understand, so the way that the odds maker make these totals, if the first game goes over, then the second game opens higher, the odds makers are expecting more points. Typically, you want to come back in on the under because it probably opens too high. There's adjustments being made, blah, 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 blah. We're talking about the worst defense and the second worst defense. And we're not talking about we're not talking about 120 defensive ratings. We're talking 128.5 and 132.7. Again, who are the centers out here? Like there are none. I just think it's gonna be pickup style basketball. So I guess I look towards the over. I think you're on the right side catching points because I'm definitely not laying with San Antonio. Did not bet the game, okay.
What I passed? What a coward. Clippers, Miami. So obviously it's a back-to-back, which means no Kawhi Leonard. He's allergic to back-to-backs. I still think the idea of laying 2.5 with the Heat is a little crazy. I had this one at Clippers -3 with Kawhi Leonard in. The reason I didn't bet it when it moved to 2, because it moved to 2.5 last night. So I had the opportunity to bet Clippers plus 2.5 last night. And the reason I didn't is I'm a little worried about the Heat outside shooting. Not that Miami's any sort of elite 3-point shooting team or anything like that, but as of late, they have been hitting some threes recently, and the Clippers, for whatever reason, can't seem to defend the 3-point line anymore. I mean, they must have completely forgot how, because they're a borderline bottom 5 defense against the 3-point shot in their last 10 games. So even though, again, I don't find the Heat outside shooting to be particularly scary or anything like that, but they have been hitting their outside shots, and the Clippers have been ass against the 3-point shot. So even though I think I'm getting the much better team plus 2.5 here, I was just scared that Miami might get hot from outside. So I think if you're forced me to place a bet, I'd go over this super low number because I do think the Clippers can score on Miami, even though the Heat can't protect the interior. So we'll see about that. But this total super low, and like I said, Miami should have opportunities to hit outside shots. It's going to be a slow-paced game. I'm not placing this bet, by the way. I'm just saying if you put a gun to my head, force me to place a bet, it would be Clippers or over.
Yeah, I don't have an official bet in this one either. The one look that I want to give out, and someone in the comments is here who's initially put me on this. It's Andrew Wiggins' first quarter points. I had not targeted him yet as a first quarter king, but the data is what the data is. And with Tyler Hero in the lineup, he's literally 7 for 7 going over his first quarter point prop, which is 4.5. Now that's at -135. So if you don't want to take the -135 odds, you can get a relatively reasonable priced 5.5. Like Fliff has it at -110. I'm not sure, like the market on and yeah, ESPN Bet has that at +105. He's hit over 5.5 in every game except for one. Only one time he scored exactly 5, and that was against the Thunder, like one of the toughest matchups. I didn't bet it just because he's coming off of like a 12-point first quarter. He went 6 of 9 from the field in that first quarter, so you just expect some natural regression after that. But I mean, you can't argue with 7 of 7 or 6 of 7 over the first quarter with Tyler Hero in the lineup.
These comments. Someone said Kami Kirms hates nasty boys. Chris.
Kami Kirms. I'm gonna use that. I like that a lot.
And it's spelled Kami with a K.
Kami with a K. I like it. That's even better. Situationally, is definitely a Miami Heat spot. Kyle, you mentioned second leg of back-to-back, 3rd and 4, 4 and 6, 6 game in 9 nights, and you got a Clippers team that's terrible on the road, 11-21-1 against the number, burning money on the road. They couldn't even cover last night. They couldn't even win last night against the Pelicans. And the Heat off 3 straight losses. I do think they take this game serious. The problem is they just lost to the Clippers. So, I mean, I'm sorry, they just lost to the Hornets. I'm not sure how much Miami wants to win games. Like, at this point, 3 straight losses, like their offense, I don't know if you looked at the numbers, Kyle, their offense is so bad, which is, I know that the total is continuing to drop, but I was surprised you even looked at the over. Miami's the worst offensive rated team last 5 games, but somehow they're second in defensive rating. They're playing at the 4th slowest pace last 5 games. They played the slowest pace at home. So I initially wanted under. I initially thought it was a Miami Heat spot. The Miami Heat are like the Chicago Bulls to me right now, though. They definitely, I'm on a diet from Miami Heat basketball, but that's the way that I would lean.
They're trash.
They are.
What's next on the agenda?
Phoenix, Houston.
Some Suns ball. And Freddie Steady again.
Steady Freddie is going to be on the court. The return of Steady Freddie. That's the title of this game. Look, there's no Nick Richards for Phoenix.
Not quite yet, Kyle. He's just doubtful.
Dude, no one that's doubtful has ever played, ever in the history of the game. Seriously, has anyone that's listed as doubtful played ever?
Yes, trust me.
Only when they get upgraded, but like not when they're like tagged as doubtful.
Only when they get upgraded.
But my point is, like, if someone was doubtful and you said, like, do they play? Well, yeah, if they get upgraded, then yeah. But if they stay at doubtful the whole day, then no. That's the only point I was trying to make.
I don't think anyone in the history of the game has ever played when listed doubtful.
I bet you if I bet on the opposite team because I thought they weren't going to play, they get back upgraded to questionable and then in. That's how it happened.
That's some voodoo shit. So there's no Nick Richards. So this terrible Suns defensive rebounding team, or this terrible Suns rebounding team, is missing its best rebounder. Mason Plumlee's going to have to play significant minutes. Dude, did anyone see his foul at the end of the Grizzlies game the other night? Oh, my God, dude. I almost whipped the remote through the TV. He almost blew my cover. Luckily, Durant hit a 3, and we were fine. We covered the Suns. But Plumlee sucks. I'm not even the type of person that just like talks shit about athletes like that. But Mason Plumlee playing serious minutes. I think the Rockets are the play here. The Rockets have been struggling with turnovers. Getting Van Vliet back should help, even though what kind of performance. I'm actually going to bet this. I'm betting the Rockets. I'm betting this right now. The Rockets are the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA, although missing Thompson sucks with that. But still, against the Suns, they're going to dominate the glass. All Fred Van Vliet needs to do is protect the ball. Don't need to force anything. The Suns don't create any turnovers, like I said. I'm getting the home team that should dominate the boards. I'm going to add the Rockets.
Yeah, I do have a play in this one. Devin Booker, 28 plus points, plus 124 at FanDuel. I think it was plus 120 this morning, so it did move up a little bit. Obviously, I like it at the plus 124 number. Part of the reason why I like this or most of the reason I should say, is the matchup against the Rockets. He scores the majority of his points and the most points on the Suns. Pick and roll ball handler. Rockets allow the second most points per game to that play type. The Rockets also allow the fourth most points via isolation. And while Booker doesn't ISO a ton, like if you just look at his possessions per game, it's not a lot, but he's capable of doing it. So in these matchups, part of the reason why I like it is I think that he's going to be able to ISO more. In general, if we're just looking at against the pick and roll ball handler, that first part, he's played 13 games against teams in the bottom 10. Guarding that in terms of points allowed, he scored 28 or more points in 9 of those 13 games. He averages 28.2 points per game. And then per Props Madness, 10 of 15 players with Book's scoring profile have hit their over against the Rockets, including 3 of 4 who have done it since the All-Star break. I get that like Van Vliet might be back and then Amen Thompson is out. I don't really think that has any impact on the matchup. Like I'm not really scared off one way or another. I do also like this, just betting on some positive regression. Booker's missed this in 5 of his last 6 games. That came after cashing it in 4 straight. So just the natural ebbs and flows of a regular season. And the volume's been there. He just hasn't been shooting well. Like the last 2 games, he's put up 21 shots, just hasn't shot well. Expecting positive regression there as well. So Booker, 28 plus points.
Devin Booker, not a first quarter king.
Not a first quarter king, no.
But a nasty boy? He can't be a nasty boy.
He's not a nasty boy either.
No, he's definitely not a nasty. So I don't have a nickname. I don't have a nickname for him. I'll think of one.
Cal, I agree with everything you said, man. I think Phoenix wants nothing to do with physical teams, like teams that can like rebound the basketball, that like try to push you and shove you. And we know like that's what Ime Udoka has brought to the culture of the Houston Rockets. So yeah, they're a jump shot shooting team. You know who's the best spot up defense in the NBA? The Houston Rockets. So I think that they'll be able to slow down this Phoenix team. And you mentioned, Kyle, we were both on Phoenix the other day. It's the first time I played them since coming out of the All-Star break when they got smoked by the Victor Wembanyama-less San Antonio Spurs laying points. And I don't want anything to do with them, I don't think, ever again. So, because they barely covered. In Houston, Memphis was missing, 7 starters, 7 key players the other day. So, I think Houston is the right side, too. I haven't bet it yet, but I love everything that you said. And I think that even with Steady Freddie coming back in his first game, I think they're the right side for sure. Did
you see the Plumlee foul at the end?
I didn't see the Plumlee foul.
Oh my God, dude!
I know he's trash though. Like I agree with that.
Let's go on to the next one.
I didn't need to see the foul for that.
All right. So you may be wondering, Kyle, you have been on record trashing this Memphis Grizzlies defense without Jaren Jackson Jr. You're on record saying, Kyle, you cannot lay points, or I'm on record saying you can't lay points with the Grizzlies right now. They can't stop anybody. Not until Jaren Jackson Jr. returns to the rotation. This Grizzlies defense is next level bad. So why am I not holding a Jazz plus 12 ticket? Because this matchup is tough on the other side of the court. We're talking about a Memphis Grizzlies offense. If you're unfamiliar with what Memphis does, they run. They're first in the NBA in transition frequency. This team is always running, always picking up the pace, always running the fast break. They're first in the NBA in frequency and points per game in transition. No NBA team gets out and runs as frequently as the Grizzlies. No NBA team scores more points in transition than the Grizzlies. On the other side, you have the Utah Jazz. They are 30th defensively in both those categories. They allow the most fast breaks to their opponents, and they allow the most points per game via the fast break from their opponents. So how can I think about taking points or betting on a side that might not make a single stop? I said in the video last night, over 240.5. That number was up to 245 before I even got to upload the video. Long gone. Didn't get the bet down. If I'm getting the big three, Walker Kessler is going to play. John Collins is going to play. Lauri Markkanen is listed as questionable. If I'm getting the big three, I will lean Utah. But I can't do it because this matchup is tough. I mean, Memphis should have no problems whatsoever running up and down the court and scoring on Utah. So that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Matt.
I didn't have an official play in this one. Between John Moran and Desmond Bane, one of them is going to have a good assist game. I just couldn't really decide between the two, so I held off. The numbers would say a little bit more in favor of Desmond Bane because the Jazz defense, as bad as they are, all the assists they give up are on the perimeter. Like they're literally 30th in terms of assists allowed via the above the break three-pointer, and they're 8th. They allow the 8th fewest assists in the restricted area. And Ja, like half his assists come from driving to the basket and then dumping it off. So I don't necessarily know if he's going to be passing. So I'd probably lean towards Desmond Bane assists. You can get that over 5.5 at plus 100, but I didn't bet it.
Chris?
Cal, I don't think you've ever capped the game so eloquently. There's literally nothing more to add. Like, as much as I want to fade Memphis, 145-1 against the spread in their last 47 games. I'm just exaggerating, of course. This is not the team you want to do it against, especially with Vince Williams Jr. coming off the injury report, Luke Kennard off the injury report as well. Like, this one could get ugly. I still lean, like you said, towards Utah, but yeah, it's
I agree, except for the Vince Williams coming off the injury report moving the needle for me. Next.
Well, that's just another rotational piece because they're down so many guys.
New York Knicks against Portland. Totals up to 228.5 here. Are we getting close? Prop Beaver also like the under, he said, but he's not on the screen, which means he didn't bet it.
Is Prop Beaver talking?
Oh, they can't hear you, dude.
Sorry, I had it muted. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I don't really get this total moving up 3 points. Brunson by far the best player on the Knicks in terms of offensive EPM, and then also by far the worst player on the Knicks in terms of defensive EPM. I believe when we were doing our model and I clicked Jalen Brunson off the screen, it took 5 points away from the Knicks. So like it's hard to put it to words how impactful he is to this Knicks offense. And then you said it in your video last night. You take Brunson off the floor, you give him more minutes to Anunoby, to Robinson, to Hart. What is it? To not Payne, but the other point guard. I mean, maybe some DeLon Wright minutes. Like I
Bridges.
Just simply don't get to McBride. So I just simply don't get the total moving up. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because Portland's been running a decently fast pace over the last month.
That pace is decreasing, though. You look at their last 5 games, I think they're 16th.
Yeah, I know. The last 5 games is a little weak, but I agree. So you could put under up for me. And Prop Beaver said it perfectly. The Knicks lost their best offensive player by far, and they also lost their worst defensive player by far. So the Knicks offense should dramatically decrease. The Knicks defense should dramatically increase. On top of that, what are we expecting from the Knicks offensively in this game? You take Jalen Brunson out, who's going to be holding the ball? I mean, obviously, Karl-Anthony Towns, right? OG Anunoby, Josh Hart. These are all guys that take a lot of shots on the inside, that attack the paint a lot. So the Knicks, already a team that likes to attack the paint. You take out Brunson, one of their guys who takes shots from all over the court. I think the Knicks are even going to be more centered on getting to the rim. And Portland's been a great defense down there. So I think the Knicks offense, even though Portland's defense has looked a little shaky in their last 4 games, I think the Knicks offense is going to struggle here. I think Portland's going to play a great defensive game. Another thing about Portland's defense, in their last 4 games, they've played like Boston, Golden State, Oklahoma City. They've played like 4 of the best offenses. The Pistons are in there. Red hot offense. So the Pistons, the Blazers defense looking shaky. They played a really tough schedule. I think they're going to play a great defensive game against the Knicks. And on the other side, like I said, you take Brunson off the court. I mean, look at who's going to be on the floor for the Knicks. You got McBride up top. He could play some defense. Bridges, Anunoby, Josh Hart. I mean, this is a good defensive team. And I know the Knicks aren't really known as a defensive team this year, but take Brunson out. There's a lot of guys on the court that could play some defense. So I think under's the play. I don't know what the market's moving this number up. I don't really get it. So should I add this too? That's a lot of bets. I kind of want to add
Scared
this.
money don't make money, Kyle.
Is that one of your quotes?
Yeah, that's a sports betting specific quote. Yes, scared money don't make money.
Oh, okay. You made it up?
Yeah, yep, totally. Which is incredibly hypocritical because I also always have a lower volume card, so it doesn't make any sense coming from me. Anyways, speaking of which, I don't have an official play in this game. Miles McBride without Brunson. It's only been 2 games this year, but in those 2 games, he's had 13 and 11 shots. The one game he shot 2 of 13 went under. It's in the number is 13.5. You can get that at -105. The other game, he had 21 points last game against the Kings. Only reason why I'm not betting it, the matchup is good. He just shot 4 or 5 from deep and 7 of 11 from the field. I don't necessarily know if he's a streaky shooter. I don't necessarily know if he's going to be able to keep that up. And I just felt like there were better plays on the board. But yeah, McBride, the matchup's decent, and then the volume is there without Brunson.
Chris, philosophically, do you agree with "Scared money don't make money"? Modai's quote.
No. It's like, yeah, I agree. You got to pay to play, right?
Got to pay to play.
It's true. That's what they say.
As far as your total, Kyle, it's like, no, I'm just kidding. I think you're in the right direction. What I played in this game though, because I kind of wanted to play side, and I was looking at the end. Now I took 2 minutes on that. Just kind of looked through situational stuff. I bet OG over his 16.5 points. I hadn't checked the number again. I bet it this morning. It's up to 18.5. So I ain't gonna do too much of a victory lap yet because it hasn't cashed. But yeah, a little 2 points to CLV here. OG up and over 16.5. So without Brunson in those last couple games, we've seen a 23 and a 20% usage rate. With 20% usage, he scored 17 points or more, 16 of his 20 games this season, averaging 23.5. In the 2 games since Brunson got hurt, he's attempted 15 shots in both. And in the 24 games that he has attempted 15 shots, he's up and over his 16.5 in 19 of his 24 games, 80% hit rate. So if you combine both, right, 15 shot attempts and 20% usage, which I'm thinking we're going to see, he has went up and over 14 of the 16 games. So, and he gets about 1/4 of his points in transition, where Portland ranks bottom 10. So I bet OG up and over his points prop, and yeah, let's ride with OG today. If
I was going to player prop in this one, I'd go Landry Shamet, 3-point ladder.
Shamet. It's Shamet.
I know him personally. It's Shamet.
Oh, well, he's a former Sixer, so I also know him personally.
I'm just kidding. I don't know him personally. Next up, Shamet's going to hit a bunch of threes. Minnesota, Denver. So disappointed here. So I went through this game early. I was ready to roll. I had this one at Minnesota plus 2.5. I had at Minnesota plus 2.8 is where I made this game. And I was like, this line's going to open up at 6. I'm going to smash Minnesota. This is going to be my favorite play of the day. They're going to open this line 6.5, and I'm going to hammer it. I wait. Hours go by. They open it up. Denver -3. Like, are you kidding me? What? So, I mean, I agree with the market opening at Denver -3. That's where I had it. But I was very surprised to see this number open up so low. I thought I was super razor sharp.
Why, Kyle? Why did you think it would open so high, though? I thought it would open kind of like 3.5, 4.
Because it's the Nuggets at home.
But they had a rest disadvantage. They're coming off back-to-back games against OKC. They got a big look-ahead spot to the Lakers on national TV coming up. Like, I kind of thought that it would open here, and I still like Minnesota.
Oh, you're taking them?
Haven't yet, but yeah, we'll see what happens with the injury report. I want Rudy Gobert in. I think it's a good matchup.
What do you think, Matt?
I don't have any comments on the spread. If you want my player prop, if that helps you, it's Anthony Edwards on the points. He has hit this number in both games against the Nuggets this year. The matchup's pretty decent. I mean, like, in some cases it's good, in some cases it's not so good. But what I really like is the fact that the Nuggets allow the 8th highest frequency of shots against them are pull-ups. They have allowed the 8th most on the year and the 6th most over the last 10 games. And what everybody knows about Anthony Edwards is pull-up game strong. Scores the most points via pull-up in the entire NBA on the season and the 4th most over the last 10 games. Similar to Booker, nice positive regression spot as well. Missed this in 3 of his last 4 games and 5 of his last 7. Prior to that, he was on an insane streak. He hit it in like 17 of 25 games. One game he missed, he got ejected against the Lakers. 2 of them was against the Thunder, which are like the worst matchup for him. So I like Ant in this one. And yes, 28 plus points, plus 104 at FanDuel's best offer price.
Aaron Gordon's out, like I said before. I can't do it. I honestly can't do it. I can't take Minnesota at this short number. I think Denver's going to cover this. I think I like the matchup for Minnesota. Especially if Gobert's back, Minnesota's able to at least slow down this Nuggets offense. They're one of the most efficient offenses when it comes to scoring on the interior, scoring in the paint. Obviously, having Gobert back, Minnesota's able to give them problems. On the other side, this year's Minnesota team launches threes at an insane rate. They take more threes than any other team in the NBA besides the Celtics. This team launches threes. That's the weakness of this Denver defense. And Denver, betting Denver against teams that shoot threes has not been profitable. So it's a great matchup for Minnesota, but give me a 6.5 or something. 4 in Denver? No. Overpass, I guess. Can't do it. All right, next. Oh, no, this is the last one. All right. Matt, if they found you compelling, where can they find your stuff?
Yeah, if you like talking about nasty boys and first quarter kings, you can find me on basically anywhere at Jedi Modai. Only if you found me compelling.
Chris?
I just don't know how to follow that up, but appreciate you having me, Cal. Overall on Twitter or X and YouTube at Crispy Cabin 2Ps to in 7:30 a.m. Wake that ass up and let's cash some tickets, man. Appreciate you, Cal. Best of luck tonight.
Wake that ass up. Yep, later. We're gonna bring up
see you, gentlemen.
Scoop and Toast.
See ya.
Another thing about that game, by the way, is Denver always struggles with Minnesota. I think they're like 4-8 in their last 12 games against Minnesota. If there's one team that always gives the Nuggets problems, it's Minnesota. Is that a Monster Toast?
No, it's a Mountain Dew, baby.
Mountain Dew.
I think
Bro,
recharged.
Toast, you're in your mid-30s. Put the freaking Mountain Dew down.
Put the dew down.
I do what I want.
With a D-E.
I don't know why that surprises you. It's like the first
DEW.
thing I order when I get to your house
I
every
know.
single time.
I was actually telling my friends about
What-
you yesterday, Toast. They're
When
amazing.
Toast flies out here, he gets a 12-pack of Mountain Dew and throws it in the fridge. Like I'm babysitting my 6-year-old niece or something.
He also has the pizza lunch. He has the pizza Lunchables in the corner too.
It's so true.
All right, let's talk some college hoops. Obviously, you guys know, if you watched last night's show or this morning show, you know Toast picks in most of these. So, Scoop, take the lead. Iowa, Ohio State.
Scoop doesn't like doing things alone, so I just came here to hold his hand a little.
There's certain things I like doing alone. Yeah, so I mean, Iowa's had a great offense all year. I still think they're a kind of a garbage team, 23rd in offensive efficiency, but they're 163 defensively. They just can't stop anyone. So while Stanford and Dix put up a lot of points, I think they're going to struggle with a balanced Ohio State team. It's Ohio State. It sucks picking them, but Ohio State definitely had a down year to what people expected, but they can turn up at any point. They can shoot. Ohio State already beat Iowa by 17 earlier this year, and in that game, Iowa had a season low in points, 65. Ohio State should be able to control tempo here. Plus, in this one, Ohio State needs these games. Iowa isn't getting into the tournament. I know Ohio State's kind of on the bubble. I think they're a little bit of a long shot, but they need to win 2 or 3 here. I think to get consideration from the committee. This team can beat even bigger teams. They did it all year. They beat Maryland. They beat Kentucky. And then on the other hand, they lose to Northwestern and Pitt. But I just think Iowa isn't that good. They can score with anyone, but they can't stop anyone, including Ohio State. So this is a good bounce back spot, I feel, for them, especially after losing to Indiana, who's, now they're playing a really poor defense and really a poor rebounding team. Ohio State, dominated the first game on the boards, and that's an Ohio State team that's already a terrible rebounding team in the first place. And they don't have a real big man, but with Iowa losing Freeman earlier in the year, neither does Iowa really. So I don't think this is a good matchup for Iowa, regardless of how many points they can put up.
Same pick, Ohio State for me too.
Iowa plus 5.5. Iowa money line as well. I get they're bad, but I don't think that Ohio State is 5 or 6 points better than really anybody right now. I think that if you are able to slow down Agent Zero, aka John Mobley and Bruce Thornton, I think you're definitely going to have a chance. And I will give you that the Iowa defense has been pretty damn bad. But again, I don't feel like they've been that bad considering to lay 6 points or to have Ohio State lay 6 points to them. I mean, keep in mind the last few games that Iowa has played. They played Nebraska, which on the road, which they absolutely slaughtered them. They lost at home to Michigan State. Everybody loses to Michigan State. They lose on the road at Northwestern. I mean, I think even Northwestern, I don't know what the score is right now, but Northwestern has been playing really, really good over the last month or so. So I don't even really knock them for that loss. They get clobbered by Illinois on the road. But again, Illinois has been kind of playing better lately as well. I just feel like Ohio State's a significant step down in competition for them. And Ohio State on the neutral, who's significantly favors their jump shooting. If they're not on tonight, it's going to be really hard for them. And if Iowa should be able to score, the Ohio State defense isn't anything special. So I just feel like this game is more of a coin flip. So if you're going to give me 5.5 and a big, huge plus price on the money line, I'm going to take it.
It's terrible pick. Next.
Said that about Maine.
I did say that about Maine. Sometimes bad picks win.
Also, did you see that Texas is belt ass tonight?
Yeah, that was sweet. I wish I bet that. We all liked it too. We also all had Fordham, and we all had Arkansas. Yeah. Dude, the games we swept on.
Well, yeah, Arkansas was rough at the end.
Who cares? It won, Scoop.
Did you play Colorado with us too?
No, I was on the other side of that.
Oh, well, they're tied. I mean, it could be either way.
They're not going to cover 6.5 though. What's next?
Maybe. Mississippi State, LSU.
I think you're crazy, dude. All throughout the season, we've heard this Mississippi State hype. We've seen the market respect them in some of these big games, and we've seen them constantly disappoint. I played Mississippi State. One time they came through for me against Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. They were catching a disrespectful plus 4.5. This is a different story. You're now laying close to double digits against one of the feistiest teams I can remember in recent college basketball history. This LSU team, reeking of feistiness. It's not in a hostile environment. This is not a true road game. This number should be 6. Go Tigers. You want to be Tiger?
I know Toast is on Mississippi State. I mean, LSU is the only team Mississippi State has beaten in the last 5 games. I wasn't a supporter of Mississippi State to start the season. I think they're frauds personally. I'm not picking LSU. I have the over on this one.
I like that too, Scoop.
I do like LSU in general, I guess. I mean, if you're ranking feistiness, they're in quad 1. But I barely like Mississippi State at home. I don't like them on a neutral on the road. LSU is terrible. I know that, but I think they'll find a little bit of a groove here. Hit your threes, which Mississippi State can't defend at all recently. Actually, pretty much all season, they're 333rd in the nation in 3-point defense, and the defense as a whole gave up almost 50% from 3 in their last 5 games. So LSU needs to score points. They're 0-16 when scoring less than 76, 13-0 when scoring over 76. I don't trust Mississippi State's defense, as terrible as LSU's offense is. Cam Carter actually had a great game when they last played. I think Mississippi State is going to struggle a bit slowing him down again. They're struggling slowing down any guard right now. So the thing on the other side, though, which I'm sure Toast will say, LSU is going to get dominated down low and get out-rebounded pretty much tremendously. They don't have anyone down low in the post that could defend anyone. Matthews and Murphy should have a day down there. So with Mississippi State allowing everyone to score, which I said the 85-plus in the 4 of the last 5, and LSU having pretty much no interior defense, this should go over, I think. Plus, LSU doesn't have any ball security. So Mississippi State should get more possessions and second-chance points with the rebounding and turnovers. So I would definitely go over on this one.
Scoop? I mean, Toast?
Yeah, I think Mississippi State wins this game by double digits. Again, I think that Mississippi State's defense gets knocked a little bit, but they're facing an LSU team that's 121st in Ken Palm in average efficiency. I mean, Arkansas was 73, Texas 48, Alabama 4, Oklahoma 24, Texas A&M 43, Florida 3, Mississippi 28 or whatever it is. it's just a significant step down in class. And like Scoop said, I just don't understand how LSU is going to stop Mississippi State inside. Yes, Mississippi State has struggled to defend the 3-point line. I will give you that. But at the same time, LSU is equally as bad shooting the three, and now they're in a Bridgestone Arena in Nashville on a neutral. I just have a hard time believing LSU is going to beat me from three today. And if that's the case, I think that Mississippi State wins this game by 10. So one last ride for me and Mississippi State. We'll see what happens.
Next up,
Caleb Daniels sent a super chat, and it says McNeese Cinderella. Any shot?
the question mark.
Any
I'm
shot?
on the other
for
side.
McNeese?
I thought they were more of a Cinderella last year. I don't think they're going to.
What is he? Is Cinderella asking if they're going to go on a run or if they win today?
If they win today, I would think.
Well, just for the record, I'm on the other side. I'm on Lamar plus 13.5.
They can't. It's got to be going a run because they're laying 13 today.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say Cinderella for a 13-point favorite.
I mean, they play in 10 minutes. I think McNeese wins too. I would also take Lamar on the points. As far as the tournament, I don't think they're going to go anywhere. No.
I lean Stanford to this one. Be right back.
Go ahead, Scoop.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
Stanford, Cal.
Yeah. Last two games combined, 6 overtimes for Cal. Not helpful for the legs.
Well, you could. I was going to say that. That's crazy.
Yeah. How about Peja's son, Stojakovic? What a shooter. Cal. I'm actually leaning Cal in this one. Cal actually is 7th in points per game in conference, and last in field goal percentage. They have really bad shooting on their team. I'm still going with the Bears again. Stanford maybe 16-2 at home, but they're 3-8 on the road or on a neutral. I know Stanford's a better team overall, but I'm going to going for a team that's competing at least a little bit. They already played at Stanford this season, only lost by 5. Stanford is coming into this one on 2 straight road losses, and they only put up in those 48 and 54 points. Stanford right now just kind of seems like a lifeless team down the stretch a little bit there. Cal's not great at all. I mean, they're turning it up a little bit, but I have a soft spot for the Cal Bears ever since that bet in the Discord last year when they were down 30 points for that comeback win. That was glorious. But, I mean, let's be real here. The ACC is just poor. I don't like Stanford on a neutral laying 5.5 to any ACC team, really. Only reason I'd be concerned is, like you said, coming off Cal over a 4 overtime and then a double overtime game, I feel like these lower tier teams can beat each other. Cal has a great offense, poor defense, but Stanford's offense has been average lately, so I'm going to take Cal. Plus, this matchup's a big rivalry, huge ACC rivalry over the years. It's the first year, but yeah, I'm going to take Cal.
Yeah, I kind of want to take Cal. I don't want to. This one's kind of hard for me. The only reason that I like Stanford is and it doesn't have anything to do with the overtime games that California has been playing. I think that's kind of a little bit overblown in these tournaments. I think these kids are going to be mostly amped up and ready to play. But I just think that Stanford, with a team that doesn't turn the ball over and has significant size advantage, so they should have a decent rebounding advantage. But Cal has been pretty decent on the boards this year, so they haven't actually been getting killed. So I mean, I guess you could put up Stanford for me. I guess they're a really good free throw shooting team and that really helps. But I think that the Stanford length is going to give California a little bit of trouble. And if those jump shots aren't falling, especially for guys like Stojakovic, it could be a long night for them. But again, I don't have any confidence in Stanford laying that number. So it's just literally a coin flip for me. Sauce next.
No. Kansas State, right?
Yeah, I'm curious to hear you're on this one.
I'm fully on with the public here. I'm going to take Kansas State here. I don't want to put any money on Baylor away from home. I really want to put money on them in general. Yeah, both obviously underachieving. Both are projected to make the tournament. I think Baylor still will. I think they're a little above the cut line. But you can see the potential Kansas State had, which is why in preseason people picked them to be kind of a dark horse. They had wins against Iowa State, Kansas, Arizona, West Virginia. But yeah, Baylor hasn't been a team you can really trust. I think Kansas State has a good chance to win this game outright. I know everyone is saying that. It's the public underdog of the day. But when they're playing up to their talent, they're really a tough team to play. This game earlier this season at Baylor, Kansas State was tied with about 5 minutes left. They also held Baylor to under 40% from the field there. Let's not forget that Baylor also can't defend a three at all. I think Kansas State will have a day from out there. Baylor just is going to play really slow. I just don't really like their team except for Edgecombe. I don't see who else they're relying on, especially defensively. They don't have a big man. Omier is the biggest man they have down low, who's only 6'7". And I know he'll probably get a double-double. He's great. But I think Kansas State has a size advantage there down low. Plus, Baylor is 0-6-2 against the spread the last 8. They really closed the season out pretty badly. I personally bet Kansas State in the money line, and I bet them with the spread, but I know everybody's on them, so take that for what you will.
Adorable. Baylor by double digits.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm on Baylor as well. I actually just bet them a little bit before we went live just because I wasn't sure what this number was going to do, but it seems pretty pat on 5.5. I was kind of hoping it would go to 6, to be dead honest, with all the action on the other side, or the presumed action on the other side. But yeah, I do trust this Baylor team on a neutral with Scott Drew as a coach. Like I said last night, I know that Tang has been decent, but I think that he was aided by a couple of really good players. And Baylor, one of those teams that I like to talk about in this time of year, that's one of the most experienced teams in the country, that's played one of the hardest schedules in the country. So with you combine that with a good coach, I get that Kansas State has been really good lately, or at least better than what they were. I mean, you got to remember they started Big 12 play like 0-7, and then they went on a little bit of a run. But I do think that Baylor's win-loss record looks a little bit worse than it should. I mean, again, losing on the road at Houston, again, doesn't really do much for me. The Arizona loss kind of hurt. That game probably should have went either way. The Colorado loss by 2, Cincinnati by 2, and then Houston again by 4. Again, I think if the ball goes a little either way, or goes their way once or twice in one of those games, I don't think the record looks nearly as bad as it was. So again, I trust Scott Drew in this team, especially on a neutral over Jerome Tang. So yeah, I laid the 5.5 with Baylor. I really like Baylor today. I think there's a reason that they're still 5.5 point favorites.
I really don't even want to watch the game because that court makes me want to throw up.
I know, that's so stupid. I hate it.
It's such a bad court.
Next up, we have a real life Scarlet Knight on the show.
Yeah, I was the Scarlet Knight actually.
Well, technically, are you ever, like, when you graduate, you're still a Scarlet Knight, right? Do you consider Scoop? Do you identify as a Scarlet Knight?
I do. Unfortunately, this season I do, but yeah. Also, do you see? I guess I'm the only one that says "we" when talking about my favorite team. I got ridiculed for saying "we," but that's fine.
Who cares? I say "we."
Well, I guess I could say "we" because it's part of Rutgers. But yeah, listen. Talking about my beloved Rutgers. Let's be real. This is the most disappointing season in Rutgers history. 2 lottery picks and not even coming close to the tournament. Absolute piss poor garbage.
We might run the table here in the Big Ten.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, not being a homer whatsoever because I am firmly against Rutgers. I am on Rutgers here. Rutgers won a few weeks ago against USC by 10. I think USC is just a poor matchup for Rutgers. I know USC is a good offense. They have good shooters, and Rutgers does have a really bad defense. But, I mean, Dylan Harper has the ability to just dominate games. He did it against USC already. USC's 2-8 their last 10. I'm not saying Rutgers is any type of powerhouse whatsoever, but USC does have a poor 3-point defense. Rutgers can take advantage of it, and their bench has gotten a little better. Ace Bailey has actually been pretty terrible, and with him being a top 3 draft pick coming out, I think he needs to do way better here. Even with him doing worse, Harper and Bailey are 50% of their offensive output, and they still are 2 of the best players in this game. So USC's opponents, they scored at least 82 points in 5 of the 6 losses, and their defense is second worst in the Big Ten right now. And look at that last game on the season against UCLA. USC just looked lost. I think they lost by like 30-something in that one. And USC's defense away from home is just really bad. They're allowing teams to shoot 47% from the field. So I'm reluctantly going with my team as a slight underdog. I got to ride with them in a close game with 2 best players on the floor. And then they're going to lose tomorrow. So,
yeah, you can put Rutgers up for me, too. I think USC needs another year under Musselman.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And a couple things with USC. One, I like my length. They usually beat teams, or they succeed against teams that they have a length advantage on. They're not going to have that against Rutgers. Rutgers is one of the biggest teams in the country. Another thing, USC, a really good 3-point shooting team. I don't know if I can trust that on a neutral in Indianapolis at the Gainbridge Fieldhouse or whatever the hell it's called nowadays. And another thing is with Rutgers, the huge rebounding advantage with Rutgers as well. USC just refuses to rebound. It's like they don't want to. And like Scoop touched on, Harper and Bailey, I get that Bailey hasn't been as impressive as some would expect, but he also does fill up the stat sheet. I mean, he scores, he gets rebounds, he blocks. I mean, some of those blocks really changes the momentum for this team. So I think that you have 2 guys ready to go in the NBA draft trying to show out. I think that Rutgers has a lot of advantages in this game. So, yeah, I'm on Rutgers as well. I bet them plus 1.5.
Someone goes, they're all on Rutgers. Fade. It's freaking Trevor that said it.
Of course. I usually like the first thing I usually put in the Pump Fake Pod comments is I'm just here to fade Trevor.
Yeah. What's next?
I mean, it's not a big underdog. If you want to pick USC, all power to you.
Unfortunately, the move was to take it last night. It's now at 3.5, but I think Oklahoma may be the fake sharp play of the day.
Yeah, I feel like this is probably one of the more interesting games. Both teams are right in a bubble, so I think this game means a ton to both of them. Funny because Oklahoma started 13-0 and just completely fell apart. And one of those losses were to Georgia already. Georgia gets to the line a ton. They're great down low, rebounding the ball, and they're on a roll right now, including a huge win at Florida. I'm on Georgia. They fought themselves back to needing this game to possibly move on to the tournament. I think they will here. They're offensively stagnant a ton of times, but they're more physical than Oklahoma. They got some what does Matt say? What are they? Pretty boys, or what did Matt say today?
What?
I forgot. Modi. What did Modi say about the dog?
Nasty boys.
Nasty boys. They're a bunch of nasty boys down low. And down low is where Oklahoma's strength actually is, but Georgia's defense down low negates what they want to do. So Georgia isn't a good shooting team, but I think they're going to bully Oklahoma. They did it the first game, 27 free throws, and they shot terribly and still won by 10. So Oklahoma is the 12th. They're 12th in defensive rebounding rate in the country, 13th or in the conference. 13th in 2-point defense, 13th in free throw rate on defense, 15th in defensive efficiency. This team sucks. I'm sorry. This game's going to be won on the inside on both ends of the court for Georgia. They're just a great defense, and I think they're going to frustrate Oklahoma all game. I don't see this as a good matchup for them. I just see them being nasty boys down low.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ate the juice a little bit and played Georgia money line last night around minus 140. But I just think that, first of all, I think that Georgia is playing significantly better basketball. Again, not to try to take anything away from what Oklahoma has done. They have a couple really nice wins. But again, I don't really think that. I mean, Missouri. Again, I still will feel like that team's not a very good team. Mississippi State and Texas, their last 3 wins, but anytime they've kind of stepped up in competition, they haven't really looked great. I guess besides that Missouri game, I guess. But again, like I said, I don't think Missouri's that good personally. And then you have a Georgia team here that has not only won 4 games in a row, including against Florida, Texas, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt, all teams that are pretty decent. That game against Auburn was really close. The game against Mississippi State was really close. Texas A&M got them. But again, I just think that Georgia's playing extremely good basketball right now. And now you're going to face an Oklahoma team that, again, you have Georgia, one of the biggest, tallest teams in the country, and all they have to do is shut down Jeremiah Fears. And if they can shut down Jeremiah Fears, so be it. If Jalen Moore beats me, so be it. But I think that another thing that Oklahoma relies a lot on is their ability to shoot the 3 ball. Georgia does a really good job of defending it, and I don't think that Oklahoma is going to be able to do that on a neutral here again in Nashville. And the only thing that Oklahoma does really good defensively is defend the 3-point line, but Georgia doesn't try to beat you with the 3 ball. They're going to try to beat you inside with guys like Newell and Luke Kane might shoot some 3 balls, but Newell and Dimmery are going to be the guys that are going to try to beat you inside. So I think that Georgia's playing some really good basketball right now, and they're one of the teams that we're going to start talking about. I think they're going to win a couple games in this tournament.
Next up, 2 games left. Give me the plus 450 money line.
Scoop still here? Did he drop out?
I think we lost Scoop, which is the whole purpose of the show. Oh, he's back. Give me the.
Oh no.
Plus 450 money line. UCF is not scared of Kansas. They went to the Fieldhouse, to the Fog earlier in the season, played them down to the wire. I had UCF plus 13 in that game. Now we're getting an even shorter number. Some people have restored their faith in the Jayhawks, but let's not forget there has been times to play on this Kansas team this year. This is a bad Kansas team. This is not the normal Kansas Jayhawks team that we've come to know over the last however many years. UCF is coming into this game with confidence. They think they can win this game. I promise you, UCF thinks they can win this game. And I think they can too. Plus 450. My underdog pick of the day.
Scoop.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't want to lay 10.5 with Kansas. I just don't see how UCF's going to pull it out. It's a lot of points. And after this game, I think Dawkins is just going to get fired from UCF personally. it's a completely different team than last year when they were one of the best defenses in the country. They did beat Utah yesterday, which is whatever. It's Utah. Utah's been bad all year. Kansas, the first time these two played, beat UCF by 51 points. Second game was a lot closer. It was just a 4-point win for Kansas. But that was in the middle of the season when they were really in a down part of their season. If Kansas plays the way Kansas can play, this game shouldn't really be close, in my opinion. Since that bad BYU loss, Kansas was still only 3-2 down the stretch the last 5 games, but their 2 losses were competitive. Texas Tech and Houston were both closely, and they finished the season beating Arizona by 7. I think Bill Self's going to have this team ready for the Big 12 tournament. They've been here plenty of times before. Maybe not this low of a seed, but I know Hunter Dickinson's had a rough season. I'm not a really big fan of him either. It didn't play to their expectations, but UCF's defense is just going to struggle with him on the inside. He's going to pace the offense. Not only that, but I think Kansas should dominate the inside in general with everyone else, get plenty of second chance opportunities, really hold UCF down from getting their own offensive boards too. UCF's not a great rebounding team. I don't think Kansas is a great team, but I think they'll take care of UCF here.
So someone sent in a super chat from Bob888, says love the show. Thanks for the super chat, Bob.
Thank you.
Someone called Boz6268 called me a fake sharp. I'm a fake
True.
sharp. No, I'm a fake sharp.
Also, 2 negatives cancel out. They get a positive.
Yeah, it's figured out. Yeah. Trevor. So yeah, that was funny last night. Church on Wednesday. Toast, are you with me?
I like the over more, but yeah, I think that either Kansas wins by 20 or they lose outright. So yes, if you're on the UCF side, I would agree with that. The only reason that I say that is how UCF stays in this game is they run the hell out of Kansas and they don't let their defense get set. Because as much as Kansas has a very good defense, again, their offense is what struggles, and UCF kind of matches up with them, at least, especially on the size wise. I mean, that's, again, I know I talk about that a lot, but that matters. And Keyshawn Hall, Curry, that Thiam kid, I mean, he's 7'2". I mean, UCF has a lot of height to match up with Hunter Dickinson. So I just don't think that Kansas has a whole bunch of advantages in this game. Again, if UCF can't shoot the ball, then maybe there's going to be an issue there. But at the same time, they're one of the best free throw shooting teams in the conference as well. So, and it's not like Kansas does a really good job of keeping teams off the line. So another thing that I like about UCF is that they don't turn the ball over, and Kansas doesn't. As good as Kansas's defense is, they don't force turnovers at all. Yeah, like I said, I like the over more because I think that UCF can score, and I think Kansas should be able to score as well. But again, if you're on UCF side, I would take the money line as well.
So we have a game up next that Scoop requested, but I'm looking at Scoop's ticket on the website, and he doesn't have a bet on this game.
I was waiting for I think it's just going to go lower the points. So.
Oh, so what do you like?
Yeah, we finally got a 1 and 2 seed in the finals here. I'm on the over in this game. They split the regular season. Both road teams won. I don't have a side. I feel like this game is close either way. But yeah, I definitely feel like this game goes over. Both sides were easily the best in terms of offensive efficiency. Montana was second in 2-point and 3-point shooting. Northern Colorado was first in both in their conferences. First game only finished at 138 points, but Montana had their worst offensive output on the season with 57 points. Second game, Montana put up 86 on the road against them, and that total of the game hit 164. Northern Colorado just has a great inside game. It's how they get a lot of points. It's something Montana struggles with defending the paint. And Northern Colorado just has a huge size advantage. But Montana on the other side shoots really well from the field. Second game they played, they were nailing threes, 47 points at half. Yeah, Montana's defense is really piss poor, 262nd nationally in 2-point field goal percentage. So Northern Colorado is just going to hammer the inside the whole time. They're actually 6th in the nation at 58% from 2-point field goal percentage. And Northern Colorado is overall 7th in field goal percentage, and Montana's not far behind them with 55%, and they're 25th in the country. So both teams great on the inside. Like I said, they're both great overall, and they're both 36% from three. Neither team relies heavily on outside shooting, but they both can do it in bucket. They've done it all season. So just overall, I don't see much defense on either side here, and Montana can definitely get just manhandled on the inside. So I think this is going to be a back and forth game, which is a lot of points.
In the comments, we have probably the most diehard Montana Grizzlies basketball fan, and he's been commenting the last few days, mostly to Toast and Trevor, because apparently they've been fading Montana. He says, first, you tried to chop him down with Northern Arizona. Then Trevor tried to vandalize them with Idaho. Is anyone going for the trifecta of losses and fading the Big Sky champs, the mighty Montana Grizzlies tonight?
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
Yes.
You're fading the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bears, the better Bears, all the Bears. He only has the Grizzlies. I have all Bears with Northern Colorado.
He seems like he knows his shit, dude. He's been commenting for days.
I'm sure he does. There's no question in my mind that I'm sure there is. If you're watching Montana basketball, I'm sure you know your shit. There's no. I don't disagree with that at all. I just think that, and I'm sure that he could agree, especially if he's watching this tournament, that what Northern Colorado did to Montana State was very, very impressive. And this team now, after again, Weber State, what they did against Weber State isn't really any impressive, but I do think that after only beating them by 5 and then kind of routing them kind of helps. But I just think that Northern Colorado is playing too good right now. I didn't bet Northern Colorado. I'm excited to watch this game, but I would play them if I had to. Again, Montana, both of these teams have been very, very good. There's no question about that. But at the same time, I think for Montana to win, they're going to have to match the 3-point shooting of Northern Colorado. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that or not. So I just think that Northern Colorado is just a little bit better in both offense and defense. So again, it's 2.5 in a championship game. They split the season. Yeah.
I thought polar bears were more. Or which is worse, a grizzly or a polar?
What do you mean worse?
Like, isn't a polar bear more aggressive?
Yeah, but they're not around humans.
Yeah,
but they're around Toast. Toast lives by grizzly bears.
No, there's no polar bears. There's no polar bears by Toast.
There's one like 10 minutes from here.
There's one 10 minutes from it? Like, what, does he have an address?
Yes, the Acreage Zoo.
Oh, the zoo? Are you freaking crazy?
I'm messing with you.
Yeah. I'm siding with... Where'd he go? Where's the fucking Grizzlies guy? I want to side with that guy. Where's he at?
I'm telling you.
I don't see him.
Freeman.
No, that's not him.
Oh.
It's Trevor. Kenny Varner.
Kenny Varner.
I'm signing with Kenny. I just searched for Kenny on Twitter. Couldn't find him. But give me the Grizzlies.
He's actually in the Grizzly mascot.
He's the mascot. He's like, are you fading the mighty Grizz tonight? Like, whoa. I'm siding with Kenny. Give me the Grizzlies. I'm betting this. I don't know anything about the team. Full disclosure. All right, so that's it. We'll be back at midnight. It'll be me, Toast, and Trev. Then tomorrow, it'll be some combination of Toast, Trevor, Moneyline Mac, and Scoop. You're not going to come on in the morning, Toast?
Oh, the morning. Yes, sorry. I thought you meant.
Well, we have 2 shows tomorrow, and it'll be some combination of those 4 people. We'll see how it works out. Everyone, enjoy your day. Oh, if you're in the league, you have 1 hour, 48 minutes to submit your picks if you're in the betting league. So get them submitted. Let's do it, Varner. Kenny Varner, let's do it. I'm with you.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
All right, talk to you guys later. Bet responsibly.
Toodle.